Hello guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my February wrap-up. It took me a minute to realize that it was a February wrap-up because this February went by crazy fast, and I know it's already a short month, but it just went by like speed fast. So I don't even think that's a word. But anyways, I wanted to talk about all the books I read in February, and I actually feel like I got a good amount done. I actually did not get every book I wanted on my TBR done, but I did get a good amount, and I got to the books I was really hoping to get done for February. And so I wanted to put in my thoughts and just talk about all the books that I did read and just kind of quickly share my thoughts on them. I am gonna have my phone next to me just because I'm gonna look at my Goodreads just to double check like my ratings and to see exactly what I thought of them. So if you see my phone out, it's just because I'm looking at it. And let's just get started in this video. I want to get started before the sun goes down, so I'm trying to do the best I can to kind of make it as fast as February went by. I just can't believe February is over, but let's just talk about the books I got into. Okay, so the first book I actually finished in February was Heartstopper Volume 2, and I freaking love this whole like cutesy graphic novel. It's such a cute graphic novel, and I find that everybody who thinks the same thought as me as to like say that it's like such a great, wholesome, realistic, like relatable type of graphic novel, I can definitely account for that because this just provides like such a cute, good time. And I can't put too much thoughts into it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but honestly seeing the characters just kind of re-sparked my memory on what happened to the first one, because the first one I read a while ago, and it is just a graphic novel, so it's not too complex or anything, which I kind of liked adding to my TBR because I was able to get a book quickly done, and it was just kind of like something I can read when there was stuff going on in the background. So I didn't have to feel like I had to shut everything down and create an ambiance for it. I could just read it while I had like the TV going and, you know, like everything else I had to get done. I didn't mind. so I'm saying like so much, but I did have so much fun with this, and I love seeing the characters again. The more I read these little books, I start to fall more in love with Nick and Charlie and like their chemistry and the characters. That also, I like the characters. I feel like I like this one more than the first one. I just feel like there was more character background of the other characters, and you got to see more of their friends and more of like where each of them like come from in terms of their social life and how they are at school. And yeah, I just love it. And also I kind of included it in, I think it was a reading, like a bookish reading vlog or whatever, but I love the part where it shows the conservatory, and yeah, it's just so cute. It made me want a conservatory really bad. But overall, I had so much fun. I would rate this a 5-star read. There's nothing wrong with this book. I actually really enjoyed it, and again, I do think that I like this one more than the first one just because I liked more of the in-depth look into the other characters, and I had so much fun just reading about this like cute little chemistry and this world again. And it was perfect, and it was so wholesome, and I finished it in a day, and I'm gonna pick up the third one very soon because I have to know what's gonna happen. I just think it's so cute, and I loved it so much. Okay, so the next one I don't have a copy of, unfortunately, because I did read it on my Kindle, but I read Shark Heart, and oh my gosh, this book just stayed in my mind for the longest time, and I kind of see why Gabby Reeds was obsessed with it. I see why she was so obsessed with it and why she became so emotional towards it, because I really do think that this book is really symbolic. Overall, I'd rate this book a 5 stars. When I read it, I really tried to see if there's anything wrong with it, and I just felt like the fact that I was trying to find something, there was nothing wrong with it. I had so much fun with it. I love the overall like symbolic, but it's not too symbolic to where it's boring. It's like a weird story, but it was so good to the point that I love like the change and the transitions, and that you get to see of like the different perspectives of each character. I think that the author wrote this really well to where it wasn't weird. It was weird sometimes, but it wasn't where it was uncomfortable weird. And also, I just really feel like she did a lot of research when it came to these transitions, like when they turned into the animals. I think that she put a lot of thought into it, and then also the symbolism in the story. I just feel like it created like such an in-depth thought process about, it's not just about someone turning into an animal, but it's about just change and your life and your romantic relationships and just reminiscing and just growing. I don't know, it was so good. I felt so I didn't cry on it, but I did feel really emotional towards this book, and I started to really, I just like started thinking, it was like watching those like indie films that kind of question your existence, and that's exactly how I felt reading this book. And it wasn't boring. I do have to admit there were some parts where I know it's supposed to be serious, but I kind of found a little bit humorous, but I think it's just because I find humor in like all kinds of things, which is, I'm not trying to be sadistic, but I tend to do that a lot. I just find things that shouldn't be funny sometimes. I don't know, but it was still so good, and I cannot like fathom how much I really like this book. I want a copy of it. I think next time I want to annotate it, because there were a lot of lines that were really poetic. Her writing style is really poetic. It was just, she just writes so beautifully, and I guess this is her first debut, so that was amazing. And I can see why Gabby Reeds was really emotional towards it, because it was a really emotional book. It just made you just question your life and look into life and other people's perspectives. And then it's as if you were people watching all these people, and you look into things of like the world in a good and bad way. And I can't explain it. Like, it's just such a good book. I would totally recommend it, and it's super easy to get into. So it's actually not just a bunch of letters written to each other. There are letters, but there are more like perspectives, and you get really short chapters, so it's really a fast read. So if you are looking for something really quick and fast, I would definitely recommend it. And then also it just gave such a different story that I've never read before, and it gave such an amazing idea of like a whole new world that she created, that it's just, you wouldn't have thought you would actually like that as much as I did. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did, although I am a little bit biased because I love marine biology, but it wasn't even just that. It was just how like wacky but deep the story was. I just found it so amazing. I couldn't stop talking about it for the longest time, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I really want a copy of this book, because it was one of my most favorite books I think so far that I read this year. So I would definitely rate it like a 5-star read. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think her writing was beautiful. I think her characters, she portrayed them amazingly, and for them being in short chapters, each character had a great portrayal of who they were and where they came from, and their hardships and their triumphs and their life within a couple of pages. You just get a whole lifespan, and she was able to do that within like a poem and like a poem-sized script. It was just, I feel like I didn't really sit down with all my thoughts to talk about these books, because I'm just like word vomiting, but I had so much fun. I would definitely recommend this book. It was such a good book. Just read it, and don't put too much in-depth thought about it, but just read it and enjoy your time with it, because it was just beautiful. And it was an easy read, but it was so deep, and I feel like this is like one of my most favorite books that I've read so far this year, even though it just started. But I love this book. So again, 5-star read. Okay, and next I read Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood, and so I finished this kind of recently. I didn't really do a reading vlog on it, because I did a reading vlog on it, but I didn't put my thoughts into it. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I don't think Ali Hazelwood's writing is really for me. I like her plot, I like her overall settings like that she tries to create, because it's like when I'm looking for an ambiance, like, or like a certain type of specific trope or a certain type of specific setting, she always offers that, especially when it comes to like a rom-com. But I think the way she writes, for me, it just doesn't fit for me. I can see why people do like it and why some people don't. I think the only reason I didn't really care for it sometimes through her writing style is because I don't like how she doesn't transition to different scenes. She like jumps into it, and then I get so confused. But I admire her work for all the thought she put into when it came to chess playing. I don't know anything about chess playing, so I don't know how, I can't really give you like a pro point of view on this, but I think she did an amazing job by really convincing you to want to play chess, because all these like different sayings and how in depth she really did her research, or maybe she grew up playing chess, I don't know, but she really put the chess playing as like the basis and foundation into the story. And it wasn't boring at all. Like, I still wanted to keep reading it, and honestly the main reason I really wanted to keep reading it was because even though I honestly feel like this story didn't have that much romance as you might have assumed compared to other romances. What's his name? Nolan. I keep wanting to call him Nick. I feel like Mallory and Nolan's chemistry was so cute, and there was a part when they're playing like a game together, and I just thought it was so cute. I don't know, it was just I don't know. Anyways, I say I don't know when I can't find words, but I really like that part, and that's why I do feel like I had a really great time. I don't want to say that I hated it because I actually loved it, and I'm so happy I have a copy of this because I think it's such a beautiful book. And this was actually a Valentine's Day gift for my love, so I'm so grateful and so honored, and I love how cute it is. Like, it's such a cute book to have on my shelf. It's like the perfect colors. I just feel like this was such a great book to pick up for February. I just am concluding that maybe Ali Hazelwood's writing isn't necessarily for me, but I still enjoyed it overall, and I had a great time. I have no regrets, and to be honest, I think this is a book I want to go back on after I learn how to play chess. I feel like you would have such an amazing time if you know how to play chess. If you don't know how to play chess, I still feel like you could have a good time. I did catch myself getting really confused sometimes because it had so many sayings and phrases that I just did not know, and when it came to like the chess battle, I guess you can say, I was kind of confused because I don't know anything about chess. So I think that was one thing. I just want to come back to this book after I learn, but I still had a great time. I think overall I'd probably rate it a 3-star read out of 5, so 3 out of 5, which I don't think is bad. I think that's actually really pretty good for something that like it's a good average. And I really do feel like I had so much fun with this book. I just like the chemistry between the characters. I'm gonna be honest though, the main character, she kind of annoys me sometimes, but she grows on me. And then also I think I'm trying to see more of her side too, because I like to see both sides to every story, so I kind of understand why she feels the way she does. I hope I'm explaining these books really good. I just feel like I'm so like, my mind is like slush, and I'm trying to hurry up and word vomit everything I can before the sun goes down. But overall, yeah, I don't feel like she put a lot into the settings though in this one. She didn't really put a lot of description into the settings. I noticed like her other books, like Love Hypothesis for example, she'll put in like the ambiance of like fall and autumn and summer. I don't really feel like I got that in this book, but I do feel like this was like a vibe of Final Gambit with like, I saw someone in the reviews on Goodreads and it was a perfect representation, but it's like a millennial Final Gambit. And okay, I forgot to say, this is also why I kind of docked off some stars. She does a lot of sarcastic, I can't think of the word, but what is it called? Like when people try to do things that are more in trend, like a lot of references, and sometimes it got a little bit out of hand, and it kind of got a little bit annoying sometimes, because it's just like, okay, I guess she's trying to make the book relatable, but I think she tried a little bit too hard with it. I don't want to hate on it though, because I know what she's trying to do. And also, okay, now that I'm like going in depth about this, I don't think this is a YA book at all, because there's some comments and there's some like moments in it. It's not really fully an adult, but I don't think this is a YA. I think this should be marketed more as like an adult, because I just feel like there's a lot of things in this book that shouldn't, but that might be a controversy thing, but to me, I just don't feel like it would be a good YA book, because there was just some things that I was kind of surprised that they put this in a YA section. So it was kind of like when I saw It Ends With Us in the YA section, it just made me feel a little disturbed. And I think that was one thing with this book. I don't think it is a YA, but overall 3-star read. I still had an amazing time, and I would definitely recommend this if you do play chess, because I feel like you would have an amazing time, especially if you want like a chess romance. And honestly, overall, I love the chemistry between Nolan and Mallory, and that was the main point of it. So that's why I still had a great time, and I want to go back and read this once I learn how to play chess. So those are my thoughts on Check and Mate. And then lastly, I hope I'm not too tired to talk about my thoughts, but I finished Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and okay, let me think about this. So this book, I just took my sweet time with it because I wanted to enjoy every single moment. I felt like this book is written in such a cinematic way. I could literally visually see all these action scenes in my head, and I'm not an action scene type of girl when it comes to books, but I could see them to the point that it was so badass and so cool, and I love the freaking characters in this book. I am obsessed with the characters. I'm obsessed with the setting. I played like a little playlist in the background while I read the book, and I am so obsessed. And I love like the whole phrase of no mourners, no funerals. It was such a badass phrase. And also their whole little, the crow in the cup. If you read it, you'll know, but I'm not going to say anything to where it's going to spoil for anybody, but I just think everything about this book is just like the most badass thing in the entire world. It's like a super cool, heisty oceans book, but it's for readers, and I just think it's perfect because I actually like watching movies with heists and like, you know, stuff like that where it's like kind of like stealthy. It was just so good. I did catch myself getting a little confused sometimes when it came to like the tactics and some of, not really the politics, but I think some politics. I do have to say I did not read Shadow and Bone before reading these, but I still feel like I had an amazing time. I actually don't really feel like I regret not reading Shadow and Bone because I still had an amazing time with this book. I still rate this book 5 out of 5 because honestly, like I said for a few of these books, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I think the writing was really amazing. She wrote it to like she wrote each character and their dialogue and their perceptions to like such a T to where you can see it in your head. And then also, I just want to say, don't go into this thinking that there's, I mean, I don't know if anybody even says this, but I was always under the assumption of like 2 characters and the romance. But you get crumbs of romance, but I think that's just what makes it more angsty to where it's like you want to know what's gonna happen. So I have to read the second book and I'm just so excited. I do want to say though, if you look at my Goodreads, if you guys have me on Goodreads, I did finish this book technically last night, but it's because I had only 5 pages left and I was waiting to savor those 5 pages. So I'm gonna say that I finished this book technically in February because I was just holding off on, I was just savoring these past 5 pages because I wasn't ready for it to be over. And I had so much fun. I love the characters so much, and the twists, there's a lot of there's some good twists in this book, and the perception in this book are amazing. I also do think that, I don't know, the way she writes, it reminded me a little bit of, I don't know, I could be getting, I hope I'm not wrong about this, but how V.E. Schwab kind of writes some of her like scenes, like the hardship scenes, and where you try to get the perception of the characters and like what they went through. I think she did an amazing job at that. And I think the character build up and how each chapter has a different perspective of every character, so you get to have some sort of connection towards them and get to know them a little better. I do kind of wish we got a little bit more of Jesper because I feel like we didn't really get that much of his perception, but I really do like his character. But like obviously my favorite character is Kaz and Inej, but I am so obsessed with this whole freaking world and I cannot wait to read Crooked Kingdom. I am making it a goal this week to go to Barnes & Noble and pick up the next book because I have to read it. And I think one thing I did that made it so much more amazing was that I just took my time with it. I think I was able to really absorb everything. I only played it when I really felt like I could fully digest it because I don't know if everybody feels like this, but I do feel like her writing was a little bit complex for me, which I don't find her fault. I feel like it's my doing. Like I need to kind of like maybe keep up with it a little bit better. So, but I like that her writing was a little bit complex because I was able to really get a lot of detail and visually like see it in my head. So I had so much fun with this book. It's a 5 out of 5 and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm actually sad it's over, but I'm excited because I heard everybody loves Crooked Kingdom, so I'm excited to see what I think about it. Okay, so I mean, other than Shark Heart, but these are the books I finished for February, and I would overall say that I had a really great reading month. I feel like I finally finished Six of Crows, which I've been wanting to read for the longest time, and then I'm happy I finished Heartstopper. I've been wanting to finish that for the longest time, so I'm really happy I got that done. And then also, I'm just super happy that I found one of my most favorite books ever, and I can't stop thinking about it. I think it's because, I don't know, when it comes to Shark Heart, I can't explain why I can't stop thinking about it. It's just, it was just like an emotional tug where it was really deep, and it wasn't even trying to be super deep, but it was like, she's trying to say something in the message. I know it. There's something, some symbolic meaning into her writing, and it was beautiful. So I think this is an amazing reading month, and I'm happy I got to share my thoughts with you guys. I hope I wasn't like mumbly jumbly with all these words, but I had so much fun, and I can't wait to see what we finish in March. And I'll see you guys, I guess I'll see you guys on the next reading or the next vlog. I'm getting tired. I'll see you guys on the next vlog. Bye.